Boom, we're back from Datafam Europe. It was such a good event. I hope Tableau do this event again next year. It's always a concern sometimes when you come from an event like this that you think that Tableau go back to the offices, the marketing team go back to the offices, they look at the spreadsheet, and the spreadsheet says this was not a good event. I couldn't disagree more. The networks, the conversations, the vibe was just on a different level. I would happily take this conference many times over one of the larger American conferences, without a shadow of a doubt. And I think it's just more accessible for a lot of people who can't justify the journey over to America. So if Tableau, if you're listening, I hope you do this again. I can't wait to see the next iteration of this. It doesn't have to be in the UK, it just has to be near somewhere where people can travel to here in Europe. Anyway, in this conversation, in this podcast video, in this whatever it is, Ravi and I talked in person at Datafam Europe about the conference itself. It was done on day 2 during the main keynote. That was when we found a quiet moment to talk about it, because a lot of the messaging in this conference we've seen before. We've seen it before. If you dialed into the main conference keynote, if you're dialed into Tableau's marketing message, this didn't really have much new content other than a few demos and a few core messages, and also some news about some things coming in the future. So as ever, let's get stuck in. Let's have this conversation. And I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments below about the conference, about the topics that were discussed if you were there. And again, thank you to everyone who came to say hi during the conference. It was so good to finally meet my audience. Yes, the very first time I actually got a proper sort of sense of that critical mass. And it was just great to have the conversations about the way the channel helps people, the way people grow, and the things that people would like to see more of. Stay tuned for that. Let's get stuck in. Ravi, fancy seeing you here in person.
3D. It's not through a screen, right?
We've never done this.
We haven't. That's right. But I think we talked about doing it one day.
Yeah.
But we actually haven't done it in person.
Yeah.
I remember, the only pod we've actually done in person was that first one.
Yes. The one that I didn't hit record on.
Yeah.
So technically we've never done a pod in person because I didn't hit record.
Correct. Exactly.
But no, it's good. Where are we? Let's tell everyone.
Datafam Europe,
yes.
Which I hate. It's a Tableau Conference Europe. But it's a smaller event.
Yeah.
It's a smaller event than we've had in Europe before.
Yeah.
I think I quite like this size.
Yeah.
600 people? Just over 600 people?
Bang on. Yeah. I like this size for lots of reasons. I'm an introvert. Not socially. I'm just a very quiet person. I prefer small events where I can reach everyone and I have time and space. At other conferences, I feel like if I don't talk to someone, I'm missing out on something.
If you don't have a 5-minute conversation, then you're off somewhere else.
Exactly. Yeah.
I was reflecting with someone actually just now, and we saw each other in San Diego at TC.
Yeah.
And we played paddle, and I didn't see her at all for the rest of the conference. Because it's so big, you're always going somewhere. You're going from session to session.
Yeah.
You're covering a lot of ground. Whereas here, I think you've got 5 or 6 breakout rooms.
Exactly.
And everyone's in the same area between sessions.
Exactly.
So you can always bump into someone and have a chat.
And maybe we're biased because, we are used to London. We used to work not far from here. So for us, there is no sort of glamour to this location. Therefore, we just see the event. We just see the venue. Whereas for other people, maybe if you're traveling in, it is a little bit nice to be in London.
It's
so
London.
You take the advantage of it.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, it's good.
You're not London often anymore either.
I'm not. It's actually the first time in London in like 3 months.
There we go.
And I'll be back tomorrow, funnily enough. So
there we go.
Doing something else. But no, it's good. I think if Tableau are listening, the best thing about this is I just think the networks, the conversations, they're just a little bit high quality. People want to stick around to have those conversations.
It's longer, deeper conversations.
Yeah, exactly. So what I hope comes out of this is that Tableau see this and they repeat it again next year. So this kind of event can build its own identity. They used to have them, right? They used to have them in the past. We kind of lost them. So it's good to have them back.
What I'm intrigued about actually is having this more regional, right? Like, so for example, if it's Europe for sure, let's go again.
Yeah.
But then imagine a Datafam Asia.
Yes.
Right? Like you've got a massive community now in India, in Japan, in APAC, just in that region.
Exactly.
They're like, let's see if we can cater to those, like even South America.
Yeah. Bring Tableau to the fam.
Correct.
That's a much better tagline. Right. So, okay, we love the venue. We love the event.
Seeing people.
Yes. Now we have very different experiences. You're being treated like a rock star.
I found myself on the exec track for the first time.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's a
high flyer, a baller.
It was being behind the curtain. I think I feel like it's interesting because obviously behind the curtain is a lot of execs and people who are decision makers. And you end up talking about just high level stuff.
Yep.
what was really interesting is everything was AI. And I remember
Nice.
being on a round table, like we're having lunch, and it's like, here's your topic, it's talking about AI. I thought actually, just running back a step, the keynote yesterday was fantastic.
Okay.
I really enjoyed it.
Good.
Like, the keynote, I can't remember her name, but it was really, really good.
Yeah.
And then, so she was there for the exec track as well. And she was posed lots of good questions that made you think.
Right.
Anyway, when we were having the conversation around the round table, everyone's just talking about AI and everyone's agreeing.
Yeah.
Because I feel like at the base of it, everyone's having the same conversation about AI. Right. Like, yes, it's going to be exciting, but you need to be careful. That's it.
Yeah.
Right. And I think one of the questions that was posed yesterday was, what are your hopes for AI and what are your fears? Right.
Yeah.
And for me, it's AI will help you. My hope is it helps you get better sustainably.
Yeah.
And my fear is it makes things worse unsustainably.
Right.
So you don't want things to get unsustainably worse, but you want things to get sustainably better.
Is it closing the gap or widening it?
It's just there. One of the topics we talked was like, were these conversations happening when the internet was invented?
Right.
And I think it's because of the speed that is the fear.
Yeah.
That you can get like compute resource, whereas internet, like there was a lot of steps, but like before the internet, you had books, and books was like, you have to do the work and like actually do it. Internet makes it faster, and AI makes it faster still.
Yeah.
But the main thing I sort of take away from it is like I kept wanting to bring people away from the conversation on AI,
right,
and towards more data culture, enablement, fluency. Like, how do you actually measure whether your company is doing data well? Those conversations are the reason I want to speak to other leaders in the space,
especially in the Tableau context, because Tableau has invested a lot of time and features into that question. We had the Tableau blueprint. Man, do you remember when that was the only thing Tableau talked about, right?
2018 or 19? The entire keynote, James
was a Tableau blueprint,
was talking about Tableau blueprint.
Here's how to do Tableau well, right?
And bring data to the people.
Yeah, and then I think more recently, we've had data management. That was a whole SKU invented to help solve that sort of doing data well problem.
Tableau Plus.
And now Tableau Plus, which has AI sort of squeezed in there, but also some of the other stuff. So yeah, it's an interesting thing. I think to touch on like a shift I've seen at this conference is that at past conferences, I felt like Tableau have talked about the whole ecosystem in equity. Yeah. And even today, I've seen, people from lots of different teams, security, sales, everyone's here representing their team. But the core message, the only message coming out of pretty much all of those conversations is, have you tried Agentforce? Have you tried AI? And there's a bit of a sleight of hand here, marketing sleight of hand here, which is they've let the community talk about everything else.
Yeah, it's smart, right? Like still 6 months on, the thing I'm most excited about is the Viz extensions.
Yeah.
Right? And Viz extensions is still going to be the thing that revolutionizes, but it's driven by the community.
Yeah, it's Tristan out there. And to be fair, there's other people who've done the most work. So who else would you ask to talk about that? But I just think it's an interesting observation to just pay attention to, because I think this again speaks to what we preach all the time: platform. Tableau is letting other people talk about its platform in the way that they sort of see fit.
Another area that obviously is being talked about is VDS.
Yes.
Right, like the VSQL data service.
Headless BI, which is a term people don't understand, but VSQL data service, people sometimes understand what it does. Headless BI thing, maybe I think sounds intimidating, right?
I mean, yeah, and I think this is another thing that's been talked about. I think in these sessions, I think what's really exciting is it's that thing we talked about after TC, right? Yeah. Like where it's decomposing the platform, and then saying you can actually run with this part, you can run with this part, you can run with this part. The third interesting thing is the vendors who are here.
Yes, there's vendors. So this is an interesting thing. Like I know roughly how much it costs to get one of these slots. Not because I was interested, but because someone told me. And I won't name who they are. I don't want them to get into trouble because I'm sure they're not supposed to share that. But what was interesting is that I don't think it's an unattainable price for anyone who would be interested, but it does suggest that, look, Tableau has the opportunity to pick who's here, right? And so you've got the Information Lab. We used to work there. You've got Wisdom, who makes some great, let's say, governance tools. They're kind of moving away from just testing. We've got DBT. I think that's it, right? Those are the three main.
I think those are three main.
Those are three main ones. Yeah, that is it. So it's interesting DBT are here. You wouldn't know they're here. with all due respect, it very much sounds like to me that they're here because of that deal that was made recently. And maybe part of that deal is that they spend a little bit on Tableau marketing, but they're here. They've got like some stuff. Their logo's here, but it's more of a presence thing. Because to be honest, they're not going to acquire customers here. Like if you're already doing something else with your data pipeline, you're not going to suddenly pivot into DBT. But if you're already doing DBT, what you want to know is, oh, actually, these guys are going to get closer to Tableau.
However, if you have had DBT in your head with Tableau to work out how your flow works, and they're here, you are more likely to go speak to them.
Fair enough. I'd be interested to sort of, maybe I should go talk to them. Maybe let's not make assumptions, but yeah.
I think about it like when you went to TC 18 or 19, when you were like, I don't know what Snowflake is.
Exactly.
Like, Ravi, you keep telling me what Snowflake is. Let's go speak to them. Right? Like for 3 or 4 years, Snowflake was just this thing that was going on and on, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that's the sort of the vibe. Like, let's get into the details.
Yep. Keynote.
Thoughts.
So,
for full disclosure, we're currently recording this during the main keynote. I'm sorry, Ryan, but I'm going with Ravi because someone has to ask the questions here, and you'd already seen the flavor of the keynote.
I saw a abridged version of some of the things that we talked about, or at least I've spoken to, like what the keynote's going to be.
Exactly, and genuinely, this is the best time to do recording.
It's so quiet.
Other than that, there is not a chance for us to get away and talk. So, what are your thoughts?
Again, so that's what I said before. The main sort of features are very AI driven, like Agentforce, like the new version of Tableau that is like embedded within the cloud platform, and it's reskin, it's new. You've got some really great formatting and template areas that you can start embedding on. And one of the key messages is that server isn't going away.
Yeah.
Right. Like, so server is here forever.
Yeah.
And if you're scared that server, you're going to be pushed from server to cloud, from server to cloud. You shouldn't worry too much. But I think the caveat still exists. The caveat still exists of you won't get the latest and greatest version. But again, as the de facto server admin at my company, it's okay. I don't want to upgrade every couple of months. And also, like, I want features that are stable. So that's okay as well. Yeah. There's a bit of Agentforce, formerly known as Einstein. And the interesting thing there was, like, it's talking about how you can train Agentforce for your company, and understanding a bit more about how you can tune it to actually help your data sources and your which I think is the way it should be. You know, you want to put the onus on the customer, because you know your data, you know subject matter experts as well as anyone. But yeah, it was like, again, this isn't the event for big blockbuster features, right?
Yeah, right.
It's reinforcing what you already know from TC and from Dreamforce.
Yeah, like these events tend to be figure out the message at conference. Now go preach, evangelize that message. And I think it's interesting. You know, if server's not going away, then it sort of exists in my head in this weird place where it gets cloud features that are not AI specific or cloud specific.
Yes,
but it feels
the things
like,
that you don't need Hyperforce to run.
Yeah, exactly. But if I was thinking about this just for 1 second, server's a pretty good way to insulate yourself from Agentforce, surely, right? Because at least as how things stand, you can't use Agentforce if you're on server. So it's interesting that SKU still exists. I'd love it to have its like very specific roadmap that's specific to it.
But how many roadmaps do you want? Like, you've got so many different products within the Tableau ecosystem. Do you want a roadmap for each one?
But this is like saying to Apple, how many products do you want?
It's saying to Apple, can you show me your iPod Touch roadmap? Right. Because you know the iPod Touch is going to disappear in a few years.
Exactly.
It's already gone, right?
Exactly. And so with those things, what you always get is you get like a managed decline, right? I'm not sure we're there with Tableau Server. I'm not sure we're at that point.
I don't think it will be managed decline. It'll be like the Mac Mini, where you don't get a big refresh of the Mac Mini until there's enough of a layering to it, which is
fair. But for me, I just still feel
I'm clinging. This is like me clinging.
You're clinging on, yeah. You're in denial.
I'm in denial.
Yeah, this time next year we'll be talking. You'll be like, man, actually, I've only had one release.
This is like you were with Ultrix. I'm just holding on dearly to a license key.
Please, dear God, reinvent that. So, like, it's interesting. DBT are talking some very interesting things about Ultrix. Completely separate discussion, but yeah.
No code.
I feel like
no code, low code.
I mean, this is going to be like sympathy calling out at this rate. Like Ultrix, man. everyone is going out for their lunch. Everyone's just seeing their current like sort of influx, and they're just like a piranha club right here. Like honestly,
and yeah, I've had conversations with people at this conference who are thinking, yeah, we want to bring Alteryx in.
it's crazy.
So it still exists as in like we still like it. We still really want
this is what I don't get. Just how can you not just grasp this opportunity and bring it forward and make it modern? Hell, talk to DBT, create partnerships in the spaces you've not taken advantage of, and start to make those things happen. But anyway,
we digress. It's a Tableau conference.
Back to Tableau. I like the vignettes that are currently going on. So all the talks, I think, kind of fall into like 3 groups. You've got what I would call the product route, which is product devs or feature owners within Tableau, so they're showcasing their thing, telling you about things you don't know. You've got the community stepping in to kind of show you the tips and tricks and the hacks.
Like the salesforce marketplace, something we've not talked about.
Yeah, we'll come back to that.
Yeah.
And then there's a final sort of group of talks, which I think are like, I'm going to sort of term them as the new way to Tableau, right? So VSQL data service falls into that. A couple of the other sort of maybe more modern things like data modeling, the marketplace you touched on. There's this sort of growing hub of new capabilities that I think is really interesting. And I know there's not sort of distinct tracks, but that to me would be sort of the 3 high-level sort of groups that I would put the talks in. What I'm really curious of is if you then take this event and you repeat it throughout the year, like, what do you like? Should it evolve? Because I don't feel like this conference has evolved since conference, right? Does that make sense?
Interesting.
The Agentforce demo, with all due respect that we're seeing here, was perfected on the conference floor, and now more people can do it, and that's what we're seeing here.
But that's progress. It's not what it like. You couldn't build an Agentforce in 15 minutes.
I think what I'm getting at is sometimes Salesforce can be guilty of demoing something like it's new. But if you're actually listening and dialed into the message, maybe we're biased because we're too hypersensitive to the message. So we get it the first time potentially. It does get to a point where it's like...
But you can also have the message told to you in 3 ways and then have a different reaction to it each time.
Yeah. I guess maybe then I'm saying I've not had a different reaction. I still think it's impressive what they're doing, but I'm not,
enamored to it.
Yeah. And it might just be that, I'm a consultant, I'm a doer, so therefore I'm never going to be as enamored as an executive who does actually want a very high level solution to some of these problems. You can maybe tell me, but
just because I've been on the executive. Doesn't mean I know what I'm doing.
So yeah, no, it's an interesting and the name has changed from Tableau Einstein's name has changed. I know that's not sort of official, but I have been told by other people at this conference who have had it, so therefore I can share it, that it's no longer Tableau Einstein, it's Tableau powered by Agentforce.
Yeah.
And oh my word, it's not been 6 months. It's not been 6 months. And the name has changed again. I think I'm at the point where I should do a video on the brand names of Tableau, right? And, just bring everyone up to speed on that. But anyway, I digress. I'm still, I guess what I'm really getting at is we've now known about Tableau Einstein for a while.
Yeah.
We've seen, I'm going to say, so-called working demos of it. I've not had a chance to play with it, so I can't say otherwise. This question I said to you ages ago, when are we going to see it? I think it won't be until .2 next year. It's not going to be .1. That's the next release. So it's not going to be 25.1. It's, I think, 25.2. And even then, it won't be what we're being demoed now, right? Remember, if you take Tableau Pulse as a reference point, what came out with Pulse was sort of the general offering. And then turns out all the new stuff has needed Tableau Pulse. Yeah. Sorry, Plus. I made the...
there we go.
The classic error. Plus and Pulse. Yeah. And I think Plus will be required to sort of unlock the other features.
Yeah.
But I think there's still a great opportunity to change the way Tableau works. And, dare I say it, all the non-Tableau stuff, the non-AI stuff, I think is quite powerful. I got sent a deck from Tableau. I'll put it up on screen when I'm editing this, of the last 2 releases. And this is an internal deck from Tableau, but it's a deck that's showed to external customers. So it's public, but it's typically shown by people. And what I liked about it is they call out the features that came from the ideas page.
Yeah, they put the little light bulb.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I was, I've been saying for a while,
I saw that
Salesforce
have been going at that thing and trying to solve them. And I think we got an announcement internally in the visionary community leader space that Tableau, Salesforce has got to 2,000 of these ideas. Responded is kind of a rich method.
It's on the list now.
Yeah.
We've taken
I
it
can
and it's now
respond
on
to
the list.
everything and do nothing, right?
Yeah.
But nonetheless, these feature decks, I think, show me that actually there's a decent percentage of stuff that's coming from the ideas page in a way that we've never seen before. And I said to the person, why isn't this deck out in public? Like, you know, if I can show it to people and tell people that these are all the features that are doing well, why can't I show it to people? So yeah, I'm sort of helping internally to say, look, let's actually evangelize the message of what's new in a little bit more clearer ways. Because yes, I get everyone's not us, but at the same time, I do think that there are, you know, geeks like us in every organization who do care. And if you enable them to go and evangelize within their orgs, they'll tell people how to do things the right way.
One thing I was reflecting on with the community member yesterday, actually, in the evening, was around data enablement.
Yeah.
There was the panel session, which I missed, unfortunately. But I got a pressy of it from a couple of people that attended. It was, again, going back to Blueprint and similar concepts. There's a weird thing, and again, this is what I was hoping to get out of the exec tracker in a big way. There's a weird thing where the strategies for enablement to help Tableau succeed have not changed in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Right, like,
should they? Do they need to? What would have? Why would they have needed to change? That's actually I think the more meaningful thing. Because
it's not changed, but you very rarely hear the small wins that make a difference. So we had Carolyn Carruthers, who is she's written a book on like being a CDO and data strategy and stuff. This is what they do. And one of the things she spoke about is go after the small wins. Don't pick the big thing. Go after the small wins, and that's how you grow a data culture, right? And it's those nuggets should be shared more broadly. Right? It's those sorts of things that it's okay, cool. We're going to say go after these things, and here's how you do it. Yeah, that's what I'd like. Like in the last 10 years, it's always been you need to create a community of practice. You need to, you know, get a Makeover Monday going. You need to do all right, cool. I know that. But if I'm building, I'll bet 100 dashboards in a year. Great, no one looks at them. Why not? Well, how are you tracking your progress? How are you measuring success? How are you integrating with your users? And these are the questions that I think this is the discussion worth having. In the data enablement sessions, in my opinion. Rather than sort of saying the same sort of cliff notes over and over.
And you know, I don't know. As someone, you know, consulting enablement's a big part of my thing. I help companies deploy more than just Tableau. Alteryx is another one again. You know, violin up for that. But nonetheless, I do think when enablement became a topic, it took the industry, I think, quite a long time just to do the basics right. And to your point, this book, sort of, you know, this person as well, it's a very KISS sort of methodology. Just keep things ridiculously simple.
Better.
Yeah, exactly. Win the small things. Those are the things that get evangelized, and bring whoever wants to be brought with you along.
Correct.
The mistake
There's
is so
like, find the champions. No. Let the champions find you.
Correct.
They will find a way to get to you.
But when they find you, turn up.
You need exactly. Like it's what was it? It's Picasso. Is it a Picasso quote? It's like inspiration is out there, but it has to find you working.
Yes.
Right. Like if someone is coming to you, you have to be ready for that thing. In order to jump on and say, and this is why you should jump on with me. We've diverged, and now here's the thing I'm going to give back to you.
Exactly. So yeah, interesting. Like going back to the conference, and I think if I sort of
there's a GameCube over there. That's been great.
We are
old school Mario Kart.
Yeah, we're sat here staring. I'll try and take a photo of it and put it up in the video. There's a great what do you call it? Retro gaming
gamers era.
Yeah. I think those are genuine retro machines, or they could just be like a Mac running like an emulator or something. We think it's all modern and old, but it's a genuine CRT TV. Those go for a lot of money.
Really?
Online. They do, because people want to play games on them because they match the frame rate the consoles would actually design for. So if you're trying to speedrun Mario, you need an actual CRT TV to get everything kind of exactly right as intended, right? So people buy them for their PlayStation 1s because, of course, if you want to play a PlayStation game as it was designed, you need one of these big fat TVs.
If you want to load up GoldenEye.
Exactly. Anyway, distraction. As we go back to sort of the conference,
I kind of want to sort of maybe finish on talking about like the conversations I have with people, because I think it's been fundamentally the biggest takeaway win of this whole conference in a way that I didn't expect it to be. I always expect to talk to people. I always expect to, have good conversations and network. I didn't expect the conversation to be this good, and not as in like,
You've not been in a
condescending.
conference for a while.
Well, true.
But I think what I agree with actually is, again, what we said at the start, right? Which is around a smaller conference allows for a lot
And this is
richer,
it.
deeper
This is
conversation.
This is it. And
Because you do a lap and come back to the same 2-3 guys.
yes, it's true. It's true. And for context of this venue, like it's so small you can see the entire venue.
You can stand in one spot and just do a 360.
Exactly. You can genuinely scan the room.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
is
yeah,
like a networking.
Can't do that in the big one.
Like, yeah, for my younger audience who, maybe are looking for mentors and looking to understand how to network, scanning the room is very much one of those sort of things you have to learn to do. When the person you're talking to, you feel the conversation is going to an end, scan the room, find your next move, and then go on there. Dead easy to do here. So really, really enjoy it.
And it's still a great community. I think the final point for me is so many new faces.
Yes.
Which is always exciting for me. I went to the Data Plus Women event on Sunday, and I remember standing there looking around and be like, I don't know many people here.
Good.
And that's awesome.
Yeah.
Because it means that we're getting more vibrant, richer, and it's becoming a more diverse community, and we're not having the same people every time, right? Like, and this is why it's quite nice for me to, just be in a corner scanning in, almost like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah.
I can learn from all these new people.
Exactly. And I think in a funny way that a lot of those people have always been there. They've always been using Tableau.
It's creating space for them, though.
Yeah.
And I think this sort of thing creates space.
Yeah.
Especially when you, some of the old guard aren't here.
Exactly. Again, another value of having more localized events. So it's impossible for for the same faces to go to every event. So you naturally create an equity that maybe doesn't exist at the larger
100%.
conferences.
100%.
So, right. So it's the start of day 2.
Yeah.
Great conversations. We're gonna try and get more of the rest of the conference. We should maybe go finish and take a photo of the DV Lab.
There we go.
DVT Labs thing together and share that out. But hopefully you enjoy this.
Yeah.
Very impromptu. Very nice cubicle. Who knows?
We found a cubicle, and hopefully the sound's been good as well.
Exactly. Hopefully this. Oh man, my biggest fear this whole time, a genuine insider thing. I'm worried we're gonna get DRM checked on YouTube because that music is on the background. So I'm gonna be doing a ton of AI editing on this to get the freaking music out of the audio. So we'll wait and see how that goes. But if not, you'll hear this on the podcast anyway. And all good.
Top.
Right. Cheers.